Welcome to Operations and Supply Chain University. I'm Jerry Wright. This is Ops University Lean Six Sigma Black Belt Certification course, lesson number 11, Facilitation. So facilitation, it's the function of coordinating and managing a group of people through activities like meetings, events, or workshops. Facilitation requires more skill than most people realize. If you've never done it, start practicing now. Now, facilitation gets easier the more you do it. Let's look at some tips, techniques to build your facilitation skills. It's important to be able to lead meetings as a Lean Six Sigma black belt. Now, facilitation keys. Provide an agenda to any meeting or event in advance with the invitation in Outlook or some similar notification process. Set the ground rules. Post these in the room. We'll discuss ground rules in a second. Deal with known potential problems ahead of the meeting or the head of the event. Imagine you have someone you think is going to be argumentative or problematic. Meet with them in advance and talk to them and say, hey, this is what we're doing. This is the goal. I need you there, but I need you to have an open mind or whatever it may be. I worked with a guy named Brian who was fantastic at heading off those issues, and he did a great job, and I learned a lot from him. So again, very important to do that. During the meeting or event or workshop, follow the guidance provided herein. Again, we want to follow these things. It'll really make a difference. So ground rules. This is important. If you have ground rules, you have a way to defer conversations and do things more effectively. So all meetings start and end on time. I actually recommend meetings start on time, but they end 10 minutes before the top of the hour, allowing people to transition and get to their next event if you have back-to-back meetings. Only one person talks at a time. This is often challenging, but we need to set that up front. Listen as an ally, no fire hosing, meaning if somebody has passion and they want to talk about something, don't douse their flames of passion with a fire hose and some cold water. Listen as an ally. We'll come to an understanding, agreement, or disagreement later. It's okay to disagree, but let's be at least open to other people's thoughts. No silent disagreement, what I call the pocket veto. Oh, that'll never work, but I'm not going to say anything. So I put it in my pocket and I veto what everyone's saying. We don't want silent disagreement. Respect one another and the process. And then outside issues, tangential things, people heading in a rabbit hole, those go into an issue bin or a parking lot, and we'll write them down. Hey, okay, I know you want to talk about that, but this is not in the current agenda. You have to have those ground rules, and I recommend for your organization, have them, agree to them, and then post them in every meeting room you have so you can refer to them easily. Really helps. Now, facilitative traits or facilitator traits. You want to be tactful and diplomatic, but nice and also firm. You can be pleasant, but you need to hold everybody to keep the meeting productive, keep the event moving in the right direction. As needed, interrupt conversations and redirect them back. Say, excuse me, we need to stay on focus and task here. Let's have just one conversation at a time. Use the leverage of the agenda, which you've sent out in advance, and the ground rules, which we just discussed, to perform mental judo. You're basically saying, hey, we all agreed to these ground rules, or hey, this is the agenda. And then that really helps you keep people on track. If you need to assign roles, say, hey, you're going to be the timekeeper, watch the clock for us. Hey, you're going to take notes or make, start entering information, whatever the case may be. You may have to stop people from talking or refocus the group at times. Use the parking lot of the issue bin. Hey, I know that's important. I'm going to put it over here on the parking lot, but we need to stay on task and stay focused. You can say it as simply as that. And then determine if you're going to have a 5%er in the meeting or the event and address them up front. Okay, what's a 5%er? I call them negative Neds or negative Nellies. A 5%er, and this is based on experience and what I learned from the Saddleback Institute, a very seasoned facilitator coach. He said, look, 5%ers are the percentage of all groups everywhere in the world that just don't see things positively. They're typically pessimistic or negative, and they believe that all change is bad. Okay, this is your 5%er. Now, typically out of 100%, if you have your 5%ers, 20% of the group is typically positive, believes change is for the better, and you need to win them over. That's an important thing. 75%, so everyone else, is the wait and see group. They'll go either way. They'll go negative or they'll go positive. So if you can get the 20% going forward with the change and what you're proposing, the other 75% fall in line and create 95% on board so that the 5%ers really don't have much effect. That's an important thing to understand up front. Get the 5%ers identified or make sure you understand who they are and then focus on your 20%. All right. Other event facilitation guidance. Facilitators run the event, the workshop, or the meeting, but they're not necessarily the process owner. And again, that helps to improve objectivity in leading the meeting. Keep people focused on what's wrong with the current state of the process at the onset. It's easier to complain than to brainstorm at first. So I use the affinity exercise to get out the complaints. If you need to see this affinity exercise, affinity diagram, look at Ops University Lean Six Sigma Greenbelt lesson number 3, and it'll give you all that you need to know. Avoid trying to make big decisions or avoid making decisions with big groups because it's just too hard to reach consensus with 20 or 30 people. I break the big teams into smaller teams, usually 3, 4, maybe 5 people, and then assign them different tasks and then get them back together to make recommendations and then get the big group to approve from the alternatives presented by the smaller groups. It's just really tough to do that. Good sub-team sizes are about 2 to 4 people. More than 4 people often have a hard time working together. They break into 2 and 3 groups, or if you have 6, you have 2 here and 4 there, or 3 here and 3 there. 2 to 4 is a good number. 3 to 4 is actually ideal if you can get it. Now, other guidance can continue. Try to choose a process that can be easily improved, or if necessary, select one that really needs to be improved so you'll have leverage with that. That's important. Get the right people on the Blitz team or the workshop team. The process owner and experts are critical. Prepare as much as possible in advance. Keep everyone moving forward by breaking into teams of 2 to 4 people and focusing on completing the action items. And as you move through the event and even afterwards, you need to follow up, follow up, follow up. That's a key thing for facilitators. Where needed, when you need to make decisions, use the multi-voting or N/3 voting to get consensus. Now, remember, building consensus via N/3 voting was discussed earlier, but I want to cover it again. N/3 voting is sometimes called multi-voting. You add up all your potential causes or choices and divide by 3. Each person gets N/3 votes. So if you had 10 choices, 10 divided by 3 is 3. Each person picks his or her most likely cause or alternative, and the cause with the most votes is the most likely cause, or the alternative with the most votes is the one everyone thinks is best. So again, multi-voting is great. If you need to see that lesson, you can consult back to your yellow belt, Lean Six Sigma yellow belt class. Event facilitation guidance continued. Make sure that someone writes things down on easel pads or notes or keeps a visible list of open issues. Use the power of the pen and write down actions in people's names, e.g. nicely volunteer people. Hey, you've been voluntold. These should be leader type personalities, actual leads, supervisors, managers, engineers, quality technicians. Those kind of folks are good. And remember, it's okay to disagree. Remind people that healthy disagreement is good. It brings out any potential issues and helps us solve them as a team. Try the fist of 5 technique. If you think things are problematic, say, okay, stop everybody. We're going to do a fist of 5. So here's fist of 5. So fist, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and of course 5. So what does that mean? We'll tell everybody up front before they put their fists in the air. So in the fist of 5, you check the sentiment or feelings in the meeting. Every person in the room holds up one hand. It can be left or right. It doesn't matter. And you say, look, this is the rules. 5 fingers means everything's great. High five, fantastic. 4 fingers means we're doing fine, but it's not a 5. 3 fingers is, it's okay. 2 fingers is like, nah, it's not great. 1 finger is, and again, not the middle finger. I'm not happy. And then fist is like, oh, I'm upset. So again, you can do that really quick and get a read on the meeting and then talk through anything that's less than 3 fingers. So if you have 1, 2, or a fist, put them in the parking lot, put them in the issue bin, and set aside some private time to address those concerns. But it's a quick way to get everybody on track. Now, one of the things you need to do when you're finished with your workshop session or meeting, do a wrap. At the end of the meeting, solicit feedback. You can put this on a whiteboard or easel. You can type it into a computer. Either way works. List what went well. Hey, what did you guys like? What were the positives? Then what could be better if we do this another time? What are the deltas or the opportunities? And then try to end on a positive note. Just give people the right feeling as they leave. Hey, we did a lot here. We didn't finish everything. We'll come back and get it, but we've tackled some of these issues and we're on our way. Now, some facilitation watchouts. These are important. What can go wrong? Not being prepared is the most common issue. Work with the process owners or process experts to anticipate potential problems. Make sure you know who your 5%ers are. Have those meetings up front with the people who are potentially going to torpedo the whole process. The teams get stuck in analysis paralysis. Just move into try storming. And if something doesn't work, say, hey, we can try something else, but we can't just keep talking about it. You could run out of time or people get pulled off of your event or your meeting. Those are the key watchouts to be aware of. But if you can do some of these things, your facilitation skills will grow. And I think you'll be very pleased with the effort. All right, you want some more resources and reading? The Skilled Facilitator, the new and revised version from Roger Schwartz is out there. This would be a great book to pick up to build on your skilled facilitation capabilities. That's it for facilitation. Thank you.